All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Sensitive Podcast. I am your host, Kimball, Somatic Leadership Coach for highly sensitive and neurodivergent women in business. And I am here with a very special episode for you today on a topic that I personally am diving more and more into. So this is a bit of a selfish episode because I want to know more about it myself as well. But we're talking about SEO today with Mariah. I am going to allow her to introduce herself and then we can dive right in.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I'm really excited to see kind of like where we go in the conversation. But essentially, I'm Mariah. I'm an SEO consultant and online business educator for entrepreneurs over at mariahmagazine.com. So basically, in a nutshell, I'm just a firm believer that showing up on Google, showing up on different search engines, increasing your visibility, and growing your business online doesn't have to be as difficult and as overwhelming as everybody consistently likes to make it. And so I have almost 10 years of experience in this online and digital marketing space. And in that time, I've been able to help hundreds of clients and students, and probably even into the thousand now, getting their website found on Google by implementing a strategy that feels both doable and aligned. So that's really important to me.
Hmm. I love that. What really stood out to me of what you shared is it doesn't have to be as hard as people make it out to be. I've been in business 7 years now, and the part that's I think a lot of us get into business because we're really passionate about whatever craft we have. For me specifically, is the craft of coaching. And a lot of people are really phenomenal at their craft. And then the marketing piece feels really, really challenging, right? It's like, okay, well, I have to wear this hat where I'm really, really great at my craft. And then I also have to do this thing that honestly is its own 100K plus job salary within itself. So you're bopping back and forth between these hats. And the marketing piece, I'm speaking for myself specifically, can feel really, really challenging if that's not your wheelhouse, if that's not what you got into this thing to do. And so this idea that, oh, like it actually doesn't have to be as hard as everyone makes it out to be. It doesn't have to be as time consuming as everyone makes it out to be. Like, I just want people to marinate in that for a moment because that is what I'm discovering with SEO as well. The thing for me has always been like, okay, how can I get more eyeballs on my work? Like, I just need to get more people. Like, if you don't have that, if you don't have this consistent flow of people being able to be exposed to your work, quite frankly, you don't have a business. There's no way. I mean, there's obviously tons of ways to do that. There's,
Yep.
work referrals, ads, organic, all these things. But obviously, specifically, we want to talk about SEO today and how that can maybe potentially make your life much easier,
Mhm.
which is what I am discovering as well. But that was a whole tangent within itself. But just so we can start out on a level playing field, I would love to have you fill us in on what is SEO. Why can it be an amazing marketing tool, specifically, for my audience, highly sensitive people, neurodivergent business owners specifically?
Yeah, so I'm glad that you went on that tangent because like that is really aligned with like how I see business and marketing. And like even recently I've been dabbling in like the local business community. So like I've grown my business primarily online. I haven't really dabbled in like my local community. And so really getting involved in more local networking and stuff like that. I see it so often where it's like people are so good at what they do. Like I have a friend now who owns like a flower shop. She's incredible with florals. And then she was like, girl, I don't even want to look at my website. Like having to learn that whole other marketing thing, it is a lot. And I don't know if that's going to make somebody listening feel better that like, hey, we all think it's a lot.
Yeah.
If that makes you feel any better.
Yeah.
But essentially, so SEO stands for search engine optimization. And basically it means that your website is optimized to show up in search results like Google. I say like Google because when you optimize your website to show up in search results, it can trickle into all of the other platforms. Google, Bing with AI search, even ChatGPT search is using Bing's index too. So just keep that in mind. And so SEO helps you get free and organic traffic from those search results on search engines. And so why I think SEO is so important is because your people are already looking for the solutions that you offer. And SEO is essentially what you do to help connect what people are already searching for the things that you already offer. Like SEO is kind of that middleman that can kind of bridge the gap in between the two.
Mm. That's so powerful. Of people are already searching for your service. People are already searching for that thing that you do. So if we can just make like the way that you described it, I kind of in my mind picture this like little man that's like, hey, have you met Kim that does this? Like,
Yeah.
have you met her? Because this sounds exactly like what you're looking for, right? Like if there was something out there that exists, which we're telling you right now, Mariah is telling you right now that there does, like, wouldn't that be amazing? And how much more simple could that make our lives as business owners? Because just like, Mariah and myself are saying, yes, we want to validate. It is a lot. Just like I just said, this is a whole job within itself, like just the marketing side that people even employed for just that, right?
And even like marketing is a whole department.
Right.
There's numerous
Let that
people
sink in.
in the marketing department.
Yeah.
The website designer and developer is usually not the SEO team. The SEO team is usually not like the graphic designer, who is usually not like the copywriter. Like there's a full department that as business owners, that's why it's like, can we make this shit like practical and actionable and just like, what is going to give me the biggest bang for my buck? And like, that's kind of why I like SEO, because in terms of marketing, it's one of the only website traffic strategies that give you long-term results, where it's like social media and paid ads can be great if that aligns with the natural way that you want to show up. But once you stop paying or once you stop engaging, you lose traffic, where SEO can continue to build on itself if you do it correctly. Like when I first started, I had a blog post get on page 1 that ended up staying on page 1 for 7 years without me touching it. And it was bringing me hundreds of email subscribers a month. And so it's like
full body chills on that one.
It's available to you if you take, and I know that like time is such a valuable resource, but like if we can take the time to figure out what the heck your people are searching for, we can connect the dots to your website. And like I just see SEO is so damn foundational. So like I had a client, she sold candles. 1 million people sell candles, okay? Like 1 million, right? So she's like, I think it's going to be too competitive, but we're going to see what you can do. And so I ended up finding a gap in the market. I was like, do you sell mini candles? And she was like, what? Like little ones? And I was like, yeah.
Like little votives?
Yeah, kind of. And she was like, I mean, not really. And she was like, we kind of just sell like the normal candle. And I was like, well, according to the data, it seems like with keyword research, there's a gap in the market. There's not a lot of people that are showing up for this. The competition's pretty low, and the search volume was like 800 people a month. And I was like, so if you want to consider it. And so she was like, okay, I'm going to chew on this. And so she ended up reaching out actually to her stockists. So like the people that are kind of like supplying her candles and like physical locations. And she was like, hey, I'm thinking about offering mini candles. Is that something you would be interested in? One of her stockists was like, we've been waiting for a solution like this. We'll put in an order of 500. She didn't even target the keyword on her website yet. And so like, that's kind of how I see SEO, and I think why I'm so obsessed with it is because it's not just about, like, getting your website on Google. Like, of course, like, that's really, really cool and really helpful, and we love that, but, like, it literally is one of the only marketing strategies that we have data to go off of based on what people are already searching for. It's foundational. This keyword research that you do and being able to see what people are typing in can influence your entire website, the products and solutions that you offer, the gaps in the market, where your competitors are leaving things on the table, where you can kind of like put your own spin on things. Like it's business development to me.
Yeah. Yes. A couple of things that stood out to me from what you shared that I want to touch on. The first is like it gives you the most bang for your buck, right? That really stood out to me because specifically for highly sensitive and neurodivergent business owners, we don't have a lot of spoons. We don't have a lot of time. We don't have a lot of energy, or either we have very inconsistent time, very inconsistent energy. Like, look at myself. I'm a highly sensitive person. I'm a neurodivergent person. I also am a toddler mom. Like, I don't have a lot of time to put to these things, right? And so something that like one blog post is continuing to give you hundreds of email subscribers a month for 7 years, like instead of constantly having to churn on this algorithm treadmill of I have to put something into the algorithm every single day or, at least multiple times a week in order to remain top of mind. Like I can be thoughtful and put time into crafting an SEO optimized blog post that is going to literally be working for me for 7 years, right? And we're not saying that that's not a time investment to do the keyword search and all of that stuff on the front end. It is, but what is the bang for your, like how much more bang for your buck are you getting the amount of time that you take crafting a social media post versus a long form blog post or YouTube or something like that where you can optimize for SEO. So I just wanted to name that specifically for people who are low on time, low on energy, low on spoons. Like that bang for the buck moment felt really, really important to bring out.
Yeah, and also it's not like it's also about like these blog posts aren't just blog posts for cold traffic to find you. I think that that's how people kind of view them is like cold traffic is going to find them on Google, but like the other thing, you can create these blog posts to then be resources that you share with your clients, that you share with your students. And so an amazing example of this is I actually bought a course from a self-paced course last week or 2 weeks ago now from somebody that I wasn't on her email list, didn't know about her on social media. This was not a referral. I basically had a problem. And so the problem was my psoas muscle is tight. And so like in the video, you might see me like I'm trying to like move my shoulders and like my core needs help essentially. But I was like going to Google and I'm typing in like, why is my psoas muscle tight? Like whatever. I ended up finding this blog post where this girl was explaining why the psoas muscle was tight and that it was like not what I thought it was. And it's actually probably like my nervous system and like somatics and whatever. And I loved her perspective so much that at the end of the blog post, she then recommended her course. And so I click over to the course sales page and reading everything. And I'm just like, yes, 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 purchase instantly. And so the interesting thing is I didn't know her. I found her from a Google search. She recommended in her blog post, she recommended a course. I jumped into the course. Now that I'm in the course, she sends an email every day to do like the lessons or like do the stretchers or the exercises or whatever. And then in the email, she says, if you want to learn more about this, here's the blog post that dives into this specific thing. She's literally using her blog post not only to get people from Google to buy the course or do whatever, she's using them as extra information for her students that are already in the course where it's like, I didn't spend a shit ton of time going through all of her blog posts, but I know that she's an expert in this stuff. And so she's getting more bang for her buck using these as resources and educational like information to support the learning of people that have already purchased from her too.
Yeah, it's like a resource library, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's super powerful. And I think these are ways, obviously, with you being an SEO expert, that maybe the average business owner wouldn't think about, utilizing that can just kind of get your creative brain turning in a little bit of different directions of like, if there's something that you find yourself repeating over and over again to your clients, can I make this a blog post that ends up being a resource library for my clients rather than, okay, now I need to go into a long asynchronous voice memo saying the same thing that I've said a million times, like, oh, here's the link to this blog article that's also optimized for SEO and is bringing in clients simultaneously.
Yep. And that's like, I have a YouTube channel where I break down SEO information and all of that, and I fell in love with the YouTube platform because that's how I like educating. I like being able to word vomit things, walk people through things. I have tutorials and all of that, but that's how I see my YouTube videos. I literally get most of my ideas from my audience, from people on Instagram that are DMing me questions, or like when I'm teaching workshops and stuff like that. I literally tell people, hey, if you have questions, let me know. I use your questions to inspire YouTube videos. That's how my first YouTube video became a thing back in 2017. I created this video because people wouldn't stop asking me something. So then I just sent them the video. And then the other video, once I had my channel, it was taking a while to get monetized to make money from YouTube ads. And so I ended up taking a break. But the video that I created during that break was about setting up Google Analytics 4 back in 2020, which was a very big deal for like the online space. And there was no video for it. I checked YouTube, there was nothing. So I spent a couple days learning, teaching myself. I created the video. That video took off, and that's the video that got me over the hump of getting monetized. And then I still to this, like, I ended up creating an updated version because they changed things, but like I literally send that video to every single person all of the time. So like it's getting found from the YouTube platform through SEO keywords on that platform. It's getting found on Google because YouTube videos also show up on Google for certain keywords. And it's literally a resource that I send to my clients, that I put in courses, freebies, everywhere.
Yeah.
Like everywhere I have that video.
Hmm. So multifunctional, multi-purpose. The other piece that I wanted to circle back to that you mentioned that feels really important that I wanted to highlight is just you were talking about with SEO and optimizing for SEO that you can sort of find those gaps in the market and find what people are actually searching for. And I wanted to highlight that because I know for me specifically, and I know because of the clients that I coach, that this is a common problem. But I think a lot of times in business, we just want to offer what we are drawn to and what feels good to us. Um, and then we're like, well, why isn't it selling? Right. And it's because this sort of research that you are talking about hasn't been done on the front end, right? Of like, we need, of course, you don't want to offer something that you don't like and that you don't want to offer and that doesn't light you up, but you need to find that sweet intersection, right? Of something that you want to offer that also other people are searching for and that they want as well.
Yep.
And if you're not doing that piece of like really checking in, is this something that the market actually wants? Is there something there's a market for? You could be putting in all of this effort into creating all of these wonderfully crafted offers and all of this time and energy for them to just not sell. And doing the SEO piece, like you're talking about here, is really making sure of like, okay, I know that when I create this offer, it's going to sell like gangbusters because I know there's a market for it already. Like,
Mhm.
how powerful would that be to stop wasting time creating all these offers and not knowing if they're going to sell? Like having someone like you in their corner, like, okay, no, I've researched this for you. I know that if you do mini candles, it's going to sell, right?
Mm.
I know that if you do a workshop on this, it's going to sell because I've researched this, right? Like again, so incredibly powerful and time saving.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I had a client who was a coach, and I think we ended up getting her free workshop for like inner critic. I think the keyword was like inner critic workshop. She ended up getting on page one, and literally like 3 weeks after we targeted that keyword, somebody, a cold lead from Google, found the workshop, literally loved the workshop, and signed up and booked her coaching package 2 days later without even needing to hop on a sales call. And I want people to remember that, like, th this is the issue that a lot of people get in when they're doing SEO keyword research, is, like, they try to be creative, or, like, they try to be, like, unique with, like, these keywords, or they're putting in these keywords that, like, they think that people are searching, and, like, keywords are so literal. It's so literal. Inner critic workshop.
Mm,
Very, very literal. Think about it. If you're like, if I'm Google searching for, I started wearing barefoot shoes recently. So I'm going to Google and I'm typing in barefoot shoes for women.
mm,
You couldn't get more literal than that. I'm not trying to be cute. Like, I'm not trying to be like, I want these shoes that do this and do that, like the benefits. I'm not searching for the benefits. I'm searching for the very literal thing. And I think that that's hard as a business owner, to pull out the very literal problems that you solve and chunk it down into literal solutions, because we see our business usually as so multifaceted and like, well, I can help with this and I can help with
mm.
that. Yes, great. And people will love you when they end up learning all of that about you. But what is the very literal problem that you can
Yeah.
solve?
Yeah. And I think that's a perfect transition into the question that I have around like, tell us about keyword search. I know that you have said you break it down in a way that actually makes sense to people. And just as you're talking about, even myself, I am new to keyword search and figuring it out. And this is a great entry point of like, yes, make it very literal, but how tell us more about keyword search. How can people go about this?
Yeah, essentially. So like This is one of the hardest parts about SEO. Know this, that like you have to sometimes brainstorm a while and plug things into the tools. But essentially, you want to look at it from the aspect of like, if these Google bots are scanning, basically how they operate is like they're scanning these pages on your site and they're trying to organize each page on your site into the index, which is basically a big filing cabinet. And so keywords are key words or key indicators that these Google bots can pick up that can align with what people are already searching for. So you can be put in the filing cabinet, and then the Google bots, when somebody searches, go into the filing cabinet, pull it out, and kind of show you. So essentially, when you're brainstorming this stuff, you want to brainstorm, what problems do you solve? If you get stuck, so like if you get stuck, a really good way to do this is to use Google to get on Google. You literally type in like what you do, what you offer, see who's showing up. Does that align with what you want to show up for? So an example, I had a public speaking coach as a client, and she was like, I want to show up on page 1 for powerful speaker. I was like, cool, let's Google it. Car audio and stereo speakers show up.
Mm-hmm.
It's literal. So if we didn't use Google to get on Google, if we didn't Google search this to get a better idea of the intent behind the keyword, the intent, why is somebody searching for this? How does the Google algorithm see this? What solution is somebody looking for? Go to Google and Google it. Make sure that how you see the keyword is how people see the keyword. And so she could have gotten mad at me if we ended up targeting powerful speaker because she wasn't being found for powerful speaker, but she was never going to be found for that. So I ended up being like, okay, but like literally, what are you? If you were your audience, close your eyes and just sit there and pretend like you're a person searching for your solutions. What are you typing in? You're probably typing in public speaking coach.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. Public speaking.
I know that we want to be cute, and I know that we want to be like creative with our wording, but like it doesn't work like that.
Because that's not the way people are thinking. Like, people aren't thinking in that wording. Yeah.
So it's like, can we go 2 steps before where you are and play in that realm and brainstorm that? Because before I want to become a powerful speaker, I need to know that like public speaking is a thing. And like, is there a thing as a public speaking coach? What does that look like? Oh, that's an option. Cool. My goal for hiring a public speaking coach is to be a powerful speaker. But like very literally, I want to hire a public speaking coach. If you're looking for a plumber to fix your pipes, plumber, Buffalo, New York, like that, like, it's not like, hey, can we get a budget-friendly plumber that blah, 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 blah. Like, I literally just want to type in plumber to fix pipes or to fix my leaky faucet, or like very, very literal and very like problem and solution oriented. And so it's like, if you're stuck on like what that looks like, look at other people's websites that are showing up for keywords related to what you offer. Go to Google, Google it, check out their site, check out the words that they're using, check out their blog posts. If you don't want to search for like direct competition, so it's like I have clients that they have like an aesthetics like med spa, and it's just like they don't want to get inspired by their direct competitors. So instead, we end up searching from another place across the country, med spa in Dallas, Texas, where they're in Colorado. So now we're looking at med spa in Dallas, Texas, same principle, just different location. Now we can take a look, what words are they using? Oh, I see that they have their website organized by this. These are their services. Let's go to Google, we'll search those services. So it's like kind of playing around with Google first and seeing what words kind of pull in what the solutions that you offer, and then you can bring in a keyword research tool. So my favorite keyword research tool is SEMrush. It's expensive. They do have a free option. I think you get up to 10 searches a day. Hands down, my favorite tool. Another budget-friendly option is Key Search. That's not free. It's a paid tool, but the budget is far less than SEMrush. If you do want to mess around with a free tool, there's Uber Suggest by Neil Patel. I think you get 3 searches a day. It's fine for like somebody that just kind of wants to see the data. It's not my favorite tool. I don't think that the data is that accurate, to be honest. But if you kind of just want to like play in the realm of things, those are tools that I would recommend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, awesome. I would love for you to send those so I can put them in the show notes for folks. What you've named some mistakes. I've heard you name some mistakes of when people are doing keyword search, such as, making it cute, like this powerful speaker is literally, okay, here's a Bose audio speaker, right? Versus making it literal. Is there any other mistakes that you see frequently with keyword search?
Yeah, I would say that, like, a lot of people don't understand keywords. So they'll think that, like, oh, if I'm a copywriter, I want to show up on page 1 for copywriter. No, you don't. Because if you want to, the whole thing about SEO, if you want to get on page 1, you have to be the best solution to the problem. I don't know what the best solution to the problem is when somebody is typing in copywriter. Are they looking to become a copywriter? Do they want to hire a copywriter? Are they looking for a definition of copywriting? Do they want to take a copywriting course? Are they looking for copywriting tips for their about page? Like, I don't know, so how can I be the best solution to the problem? The other thing that comes into play is that it's way too competitive. Everybody and their mom has been trying to target copywriters since 1999. It is too competitive. And so what you want to do is get more specific, not too specific, where it's like copywriter for about page for small business owners in Buffalo, New York. It's like, okay, that keyword is like a little much. We can kind of take some words off of there. But essentially targeting what's called long tail keywords. And so these are keywords with usually 3 or more words. Those are usually more specific. And the reason why those are helpful is A, the competition is lower, so it's going to be easier for you to rank for. The monthly search volume, how many people are searching for that, are also lower, but that's not really a make or break thing, depending on where the person is in the buyer's journey. Because they might be so far into the buyer's journey that they know that this is exactly what they need, and then they're going to convert better. Where if you show up for copywriter, they're so far in the beginning of the buyer's journey, you're going to have to do a lot of nurturing. And so I think understanding keywords and understanding that, like, almost anything that you type into a search engine can be considered a keyword. It's not just SEO, SEO consultant. Like, that's not it. Those are keywords. Any word can be a keyword, but, like, regardless of how many words are in the phrase or not, can be considered a keyword. And so we have to consider, like, there's a lot of things to consider when we're trying to choose the right keyword for a specific page on the site.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so much that goes into it. And a question that's coming up for me as you're sharing this, because I even can feel a bit overwhelmed, even just talking about this and thinking about this. And so I'm sort of feeling into what my audience may be feeling as well. What would you say would be a normal time frame of, let's say, okay, I want to write an SEO optimized blog post that's going to work for me for years. What would you say would be the average amount of time where you would need to do keyword research before you start it?
That's hard because I can do keyword research in 5 minutes.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? Like, my brain just goes there. So I would say you can take as much time as you give yourself. It's the same thing. I don't know what that principle is, but it's like you take it.
Whereas law.
Yeah, it's like you take as much time as you give yourself. If you say, I'm spending 15 minutes doing keyword research, see what the best case that you can find is. Do a little research on Google, find a competitor, take a keyword, put it into a tool, see what shows up. Take that, find something, even if it's just good enough. Find something good enough. So what's going to happen essentially is, like, Google will scan the website and put you in the filing cabinet somewhere. So a lot of the times people are in the filing cabinet, but they're for random shit that, like, you don't want to be in the filing cabinet for. So, like, before I started focusing on SEO, I was in the filing cabinet for, what does the name Mariah mean? Because Mariah was all over my website that Google was like, we'll just put her on page 5 for this. We don't know where else to put her. So if you can even start getting a little closer in terms of, like, the keywords that you like, Google will start shifting you around in the index, and then you'll be able to see if you have Google Search Console set up. So that's, like, tip number 1. If you only do one thing after listening to this, set up Google Search Console. It basically is like how Google sees your website. If you have this free tool set up, it will allow you to see what keywords you're being found in Google's index, aka the filing cabinet, for. So essentially, if you target a keyword and you're like, I don't know if this is my favorite keyword forever, target the keyword, and then you'll be able to see in a month or 2 if you're starting to be associated with that keyword or relevant synonyms that you didn't even consider, because one page can show up for numerous keywords, dozens of keywords, thousands of keywords, honestly. It just depends on, like, for what keyword or what phrase is this page the best solution to the problem for. So it's like, This is what people hate. They hate that SEO is a forever like testing and tweaking thing if you want it to be. I love that because I like playing in the realm of data. So it's like, even if you are married to the keyword, you're like, I don't even know if I freaking like this keyword. It's not my favorite thing. I'm going to put it on the blog post. I'm going to mention it a couple times, the SEO title, the meta description, all that fun stuff. And then I'm just going to like let it see what happens. And I'm going to check in 3 months and see if I'm being associated with this keyword or synonyms. So I know that that didn't directly answer your question, but like, it's not that serious. How many times do we create an Instagram post that we think is going to get so many clicks and so many views and so many clients and it flops? It's the same
Yeah, that's
thing.
what I was going to say. That's really anything in business. You know, I'm hearing you talk about like, oh, people don't like it because there's experimentation. That's really, if
It's
you have a
marketing.
problem with that, then you've got a problem with all of business, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And so SEO does get a bad rep for like taking a long time in order to get results. But it depends on where you are in the SEO process. I would say I have gotten clients and students on page 1 within 4 weeks because we ended up finding the right keyword that aligns with their website and that aligns with the intent of the keyword targeted on the homepage or the services page. Google was like, that's what your page is about. And then structured the filing cabinet to put them there, and they were the perfect solution to the problem. What takes a long time for SEO is when you're in like, if you, let's say you targeted the right keyword and then you're on page 3. It can sometimes take a while to like get up to page 1. But the initial like keyword thing, because think about it, Google has these bots, they're scanning all the pages. They want to understand your website. They want to put you in the like best section of the filing cabinet because Google search engines make money from people using it and from people finding the perfect solution to the problem. So if you're a better solution to the problem than what's already there, Google wants to put you there so that the searchers are happy with what they're finding on Google and they keep using Google.
Mm. Yeah, makes total sense. I love it. Well, I know we've talked a lot about keywords and blogging specifically, but I would love to transition to talking more about foundational pages. Like I know we talked about home pages, the about page, freebie pages, workshops, which I know you've mentioned briefly. Can you tell us a little bit more how to make all of these things more effective as well with SEO?
Yeah, so when a lot of people hear about SEO, they only think about blog posts. And I think because blog posts were such a powerful thing when SEO first started, because there was a lot of bloggers, but your website is created of numerous pages, and each of your pages can solve a different problem. So like I like to either we can use a service provider as an example or an e-commerce shop. E-commerce shops, you're going to have keywords like if you sell apricot soy candles, we can target apricot soy candle on your apricot soy candle product page. Your homepage is not the best solution for apricot soy candles because your homepage is talking about like all of your candles.
Yeah.
So for the homepage, we might target like soy, I don't know, like all natural soy-based candles. Something a little bit more vague that can like cover like the homepage, but like each specific page can target a different keyword. That's why blogging is so powerful because blogging multiplies the keywords that you can hit, therefore multiplying the doors that people can find you through. But essentially, so like think about it from a photographer is a really good example. If you're going to Google and typing in like wedding photography packages and pricing, the homepage is probably not the best solution to that problem. It's probably the photographer's pricing and packages page for their wedding photography. But they might also offer boudoir photography. Well, I don't really care about boudoir. I'm looking for the wedding packages and pricing. So it's like if you can target those very literal keywords on the pages on your website that align with the solution that people are looking for, that's how you can kind of have these different pages on your site show up on Google. So it's the same thing of like personal branding workshop. Now, I haven't done the research, but it's like my homepage is not the best example for that. But if I had a free workshop or even a paid workshop talking about personal branding workshop for business owners, cool, target that keyword on the workshop page. So it's like, it depends on the keyword. And so the question is like, which page to target the keyword will all depend on the intent behind the keyword. But not all pages on our site are going to have a keyword that we're targeting, because not all pages on our site are meant to show up on search engines. So for example, my contact page is not going to have a keyword. The only time that my contact page should show up on Google is if somebody types in contact Mariah Magazine. So it's like, we don't have to SEO strategize every single page on the site. Not all of your pages are going to show up on Google.
Yeah. 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 I think that it's so helpful to realize, like SEO is beyond blogging. We really should be thinking about SEO being optimized for all of these pages on our site. Because essentially you want all of your website to work for you, right? You want all of it to be working for you, not just like this one small portion of blog post. So I think that's a really important consideration.
And they serve different purposes. People are different in different phases of the buyer journey. Somebody looking up, like, I don't know, needing a wedding photographer, like how to book a photographer, how to choose a photographer. That's a blog post. That's information. That's education. That's not my homepage.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Such good points. I would love to talk about, and I know we've sort of touched on this a little bit, but more explicitly, kind of like a long-term strategy and short-term strategy with SEO. So what I mean by that is if somebody, let's say, wanted to drive traffic and sales to, let's say, a workshop or a specific offering that they were launching, how would we want to do that with SEO versus if someone wanted to keep eyes on offerings that's kind of like a standing offering that they have ongoing, they want ongoing continual sales. So more of a like an ongoing and long-term strategy. What would be the best way to do that with SEO as well?
Yeah, so the evergreen content works better for SEO. If you have a course that's like an open and closed cart, you're removing the sales page. Like, Google doesn't like that. Search engines don't like that. That's like, there's billions of pages, billions of websites. Google's not keeping tabs like that.
Mm.
So when you're thinking about SEO, the question is, can we give long, like, evergreen resources, evergreen pages? So like if you do have a course and it's not like it's open, closed cart, can you keep the sales page up there but have a wait list?
That's what I do. And I didn't
So
know that. So that's
yeah,
nice. Yeah.
have a wait list. That's a really good option. But like things with summits, like for example, it was usually like an open and close, unless the summit was going to be either a yearly thing that you were going to update every year or like more long term. It's not really going to be the best bang for your buck to target that with SEO, because Google might not even take that page seriously for 6 weeks. And so then the summit's already closed. So what's the point? So then the question is, can you create evergreen blog posts that talk about the topics that you talk about, and then you can come into a blog post and change like certain things that you're promoting depending on what time of day or what time of year or like whatever. So you can shift those things, but like SEO works better for evergreen long-term things, especially like I said, it builds momentum over time. It's not going to build momentum over time if you keep switching shit around.
Mm. Makes total sense. Yeah. And that's a great consideration. Like I said, I didn't even know that, but that's what I do anyway. Like I have a course and I just keep it up all the time and just have, very explicitly on there, like next time it's being run is in April, for example, and then have a wait list. And it's a great way to go about that.
Yeah, and I would say if you're gonna do that, just make sure that, like, the meat and the potatoes of that page stay the same. Don't
Mm.
delete or remove half of the page content and then put up a wait list. Now you're not giving Google enough, like, content to chew on. Now you're not the best solution to the problem, because although you could be the best solution to the problem with your friends in your industry, whatever, you also have to portray that to Google, and how you do that is giving it, like, content that it can kind of chew on and marinate with and better understand the intent and, like, the user experience of your site and all of that. So, just don't remove half of the page and then expect to, like, stay on page 1.
Yeah. Yeah. Great advice there. I love that. Well, I want to talk about YouTube a little bit. I know we've touched on it a tad. YouTube is something that I have recently started doing, just honestly with this podcast. And how long has it been now? Maybe like half a year. But YouTube is so great as a marketing platform. I know you love it as well. It's great with SEO. So I'd love to talk about YouTube as a marketing platform. How do keywords play into that as well, and why maybe people may want to start a YouTube channel?
Yeah, I love YouTube. It's funny because, like, when I started doing SEO for YouTube, I was very underwhelmed.
Mm.
The data there isn't as much data that we get access to when it comes to SEO keyword research, so I thought I was doing it wrong. I thought I was missing something. I must be missing something. I have access to all of this Google data. Where's all of that for YouTube? There are 2 tools that I like. So TubeBuddy is my favorite SEO tool of choice for YouTube. It's this more simplistic one. The other option that people like is vidIQ. It's a little bit more in depth. You get access to more things. It can be a little overwhelming. You can kind of get stuck in like analysis paralysis, where I like TubeBuddy for just like shooting your shot type thing. But keywords operate the same there. YouTube has search bots that go through, scan your videos. They're picking up on context clues. What's the title of the video? What words are you using in the description? What about your tags? That's all the bots are doing. They're not watching the video. So like, can you give it context clues so that it can connect the key words with your content and put it in the filing cabinet of YouTube accordingly? And so my prediction is that YouTube is going to continue to blow up, especially in the age of AI. Have you seen like AI generated videos? They are like cringy. Like they are like not great. And so I think that you can bullshit a blog post semi easily. I'm not saying that like you're going to get conversions from that, because people also get, oh man, like people are like, well, I need to
People are
create a
discerning.
yeah, and, like, people are like, "Well, I need to create a blog post every week, so I'll just use AI." And my question is, well, what's the point of the blog post? I'm assuming it's to sell something or to get people on your email list. People know, like, and trust people that they feel like they can resonate with or
Yeah.
understand, and so when you're just using AI for that, you're missing that, and so I feel like with all of this AI generated content, people are craving perspective, personality, tone in content, and that's why video is so helpful, because you can feel me. You can know me. You can trust me. I'm a real human. You're seeing me like word vomit random stuff, and like maybe you're down with it or maybe you're not. And then you know really quickly whether I'm your person or I'm not your person. And so that's why I think YouTube is going to continue to blow up, because people are going to crave that like more deeper connection than just like this AI generated bullshit that some people are pushing out.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. So I was a doctor of physical therapy for like 13 years before switching into, my coaching career. And I've had people tell me sometimes that my writing sounds really clinical. And I'm like, well, yeah, because I have a doctorate level education and I'm used to doing like all these very clinical, like posts and things like that. It's very hard to get that out of me. Like it's something that I'm still working on, but it feels like it's like grafted into my being. And then I've gotten the feedback of like, oh, well, when I listen to you when I see you on your YouTube podcast, when I listen to you on your podcast, like I really feel like you're this very warm, genuine, engaging person that doesn't come across in your written copy as well. And like, yes, I want to continue to work on my written copy being more authentic and genuine to my true voice and getting some of that clinicalness out of it. But in the meantime, I can just make YouTube videos where that comes across, right? Like, don't waste your time like perfecting and being so perfectionistic about something if it's not coming as easily. And I want to give a real life example of I just recently hired someone to do like dipping my toe in the SEO world. I hired somebody to do optimize my YouTube SEO. So a lot of my videos were on like 20 views. And my YouTube SEO consultant has taken it like in 2 days, it had like 600, 700 views just by changing a few things for SEO. So like I want to tell you as a real person who
Yep.
has really experienced this of like, hey, have at like trying to optimize this for SEO. I didn't want to take the time to do it myself, of the keyword search myself. Hired somebody to do it. Has literally taken every video that I've given him to 600 and 700 views in 2 days time. Like, this is the power of SEOs. Like, can you visualize and imagine going from having just 20 eyes on a video versus 700 eyes on a video, and every single time that you're putting out a video, and my numbers of subscribers on my YouTube channel has gone up significantly from that as well. And it's something where that momentum is just going to continue to build and build and build. And then, of course, what you need to do, what I would name as a business owner that isn't exactly the SEO component, but this I feel is really, really important for me to mention as a business owner, is you've got to have somewhere to take those people once there is the views on your channel, right? So there's got to be something for them to do. Once you've watched the video, where are you taking them? Where are you driving them? Maybe that is a freebie that you have if you're into that sort of thing. Maybe it's a low-cost offering where they can experience your work. Maybe it's another offering, but like, the views are one thing, but also follow it up with where are you taking these people to in order to really help with sales. But I wanted to give that real-time example of what can be possible with YouTube from somebody who is doing it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I love that so much. And like, it's because you're connecting with the keywords that people are already searching for the shit that you help people with. We just have to figure out the words that they are typing in. And I will say, sometimes not all YouTube videos will be connected to keywords. The same thing as like your website, like your contact page. I need a contact page for the user experience of my site. My YouTube videos, most of the time I am doing keyword research, but if I don't find a keyword that I like, it doesn't mean that I'm not creating the content. Some of the content is like because I really want to create it, because people are asking me, and like I didn't find a keyword. And who gives a shit? Like, I still feel excited to create this specific post or this specific video. And then I did want to mention what you were saying. Where are you driving people? The strategy that I've been using is I created like mini commercials. And so I have this commercial that's like interrupting this video really quick. And it's just me for like a minute and a half talking about a low-cost digital offer that I have. I created a commercial. My editor turned that into a clip. And now we put it in the middle of my videos that align with that solution. And then I have another mini commercial that's just like, you made it to the end of this video. Do you have any questions? Like, if you want to get started on SEO, I have a free blah, 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 blah. And so then I use that commercial for the end of my SEO videos. And not all of the videos on my channel pertain to SEO. I do some like software and tools and website tech and stuff like that. So I don't use these mini commercials for videos that don't make sense.
Yeah.
But for the ones that make sense, I just toss that shit up there. Another reusable asset that I can use to just put where I want it to on certain videos.
Yeah. I love that so much. Well, I have a bit of rapid fire questions that I always like to ask folks at the end, just as a way to close us up and allow people to get to know you a little bit better, if that's okay, as we're coming to a close.
Sure.
Is there anything that you'd like to say in closing that feels like it may need another moment to wrap up from our podcast today?
I think the thing that I want to leave people with is like, SEO is not about perfection. It's about infusing SEO friendly habits into the shit that you're already doing. You're already creating a services page on your website. You're already adding a product to your website. You're already like trying to create your homepage. Like, these SEO friendly habits can build on themselves. And then I tell my clients and my students, like, it's not about perfection. SEO friendly habits into the things that you're already doing. Once you can see your website or see your YouTube videos from the SEO lens, you can't unsee it. Now, every time you go to somebody's website, you're gonna be like, yo, is this girl trying to target like SEO consultant in Buffalo? Like, you're just gonna see the internet differently, which I find really fun. But also, like, this momentum builds even if you just have an hour a week. People usually aren't getting results from SEO because it's on the back burner. It's a thing that's like, it's going to take 6 months. Screw it. I'm not going to do it. My website isn't big enough. My blah, blah, blah isn't big enough. Like, no, start this stuff now Start implement just 1 hour a week and you can get results, because the reason why people don't get results is because they stop. They don't do it consistently. It's the same thing with business. It's the same thing with marketing. All I need for SEO results is 1 hour a week, and allow those hours to stack up. Little shifts in what you're doing can make a difference.
Mm, I love that so much. That's such an important point to end on. And I actually don't know this about yourself. Do you identify as a highly sensitive or neurodivergent person? If you don't, this next question does not apply.
Yeah, highly sensitive for sure. Like,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right. Well, what do you wish people knew about your experience as a highly sensitive person in the world?
How easy it is. Like, empathy isn't a choice.
Mm,
I just am. I feel like I can feel people really easily. And it's funny because, like, from my personality, you would assume that I'm like this big extrovert, right? I'm out in the world and I'm just like flopping around having like convos with everybody. And like, I've grown my business mainly online. And I thought that I was extroverted. I have my same like friends from high school, and like I'm extroverted with those people. But recently, last year, when me and my fiance ended up moving back to Buffalo, I was like, you know what? I want to get involved in the community. So I started joining like this local networking group. So there was like 40 women there. So I walk in here and I'm like, listen, I've been in business for like almost 10, I'm going to fucking kill it. Right. I walked in there horrified off. I was so overwhelmed. And like, I was telling Andrew, I was like, I have not put myself in a room where I felt uncomfortable in years. And so I did that and it was awful. It was like I was sitting there and I was like, fuck, like I don't go up to people. People come up to me. Like it's just like naturally kind of how I operate. Or I go with somebody and then they know somebody and they're introducing. I'm not the person that's like, hi, I'm Mariah. Like I'm just not that kind of person. And so there, it's like I didn't want to sit on my phone and be rude. But then I also was so overwhelmed energetically because I couldn't pick up on people's energy. And so after that meeting, I came home and I told Andrew and I was like, "It was fucking awful." And he was like, "Well, you don't have to ever do it again." And I was like, "I signed a contract for a year." And he was like, "Why would you do that?" And I was like, "I didn't like how uncomfortable it made me." I was like, "I would like to strengthen the muscle of being able to, maybe I'm not the person that goes up to people, but I don't want to be completely thrown off kilter like that. I would like to strengthen this muscle." And through that, what I learned about myself is that I just much rather prefer one-on-ones when getting to know people. So, like, in that networking space, we basically have to meet one-on-ones with everybody in the networking group, like, over your first year or whatever. And so the one-on-ones, I was vibing, dude. Like, it was so good. And then that allowed me to build up confidence because the next month at the meeting, now I have a stable foundation and a relationship with the person. So I feel more comfortable in that room because I have that. And so
yes. I resonate with that so much.
I think that, like, that has been really helpful at doing that, and, like, just knowing that, like, I'm just made this way, but there's things that I can do to equip myself. I don't have to completely now avoid networking things because they're awful. I can strengthen the muscle if that feels like it's an arena that I wanna play in, but knowing that, like, I can't, it's very important to me to be able to feel that other person, to know where we're going, essentially, from, like, an energetic level.
I love that. I resonate with that a lot myself. And what's the last thing that truly surprised you?
That truly I feel okay, so I just got engaged.
I was gonna say, were you surprised by your engagement?
So it's funny because, like, no. So yeah, I got engaged, 2 weeks ago, and so it's funny because, like, no, I knew that it was coming. We've been together 5 years. I picked out the ring. I kind of knew it was also the day it was, our 6-year anniversary of our first date. We had a dinner scheduled that night for quote unquote Valentine's Day. I knew that it was happening that day. I wasn't very surprised. Um I think I would, but what I was surprised at is, like, the meaning behind it and how much that hit me.
Hmm.
I think that that really surprised me, where it was funny because it was so awkward. We've been together, we lived together, and he was just like, he's down on one knee, and he has no fucking idea how this shit works, and opening up the box, and he's like, said some words, and then I said yes, and then he's just still opening up the box, and I was like, "You need to put it on my hand." And then he was like, "I did you?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "I don't." He's like, "I don't know how this works." And so then we're laughing at how awkward it was, but it was like after that, it was more just like the meaning, like how beautiful that like
Yeah.
somebody wants to spend the rest of their life with me, and I want to spend the rest of my life with them.
Mm.
That means so much to me, and then I, like, got all, like, wrapped up in the feelings of it, but, like, the actual act of it, I was not surprised.
Same with my engagement. My husband, we've been married, it's gonna be 7 years in May, and I just kept on telling him, I was like, "You gotta shit or get off the pot, like, I can't do this anymore." Because we were long distance, and he's from Syracuse, so I would be, going back and forth to upstate New York and that frigid cold you guys got up there and all that snow and all the stuff, and he told me that he wanted to do a hot air balloon ride for his birthday, and I was like, "He does not wanna do a hot air balloon ride for his birthday, he would not wanna celebrate himself in that way for his birthday, this is totally gonna be him like proposing to me because same thing, like I had picked out the ring, I had told him what I wanted, like I knew it was coming eventually, but then apparently there was like too much wind or something, and so that got canceled, and he told me that he wanted to do some other thing, which was like renting bikes. I mean, granted, it was November, it was really, really cold, and he took me like riding bikes, and I was like the whole time, I was like, "This is so cold, and I am so annoyed, but I'm not gonna say anything because I think that he's proposing right now, and I don't wanna be complaining the whole time." So I was, like, really mindful of it. But the whole time inside, I'm like, "Why am I riding a damn bike and it is so cold?"
Yes, and then it's like I don't know if you felt this way, but it was also like we both had, like, anxiety about it. It was
Yeah,
like, "Why am I so nervous?" I was like,
yeah.
"I'm gonna say yes." He's go like, "What the fuck?" And then he was like, "I don't know why I was so nervous." Like, I knew that you would say like, "What the hell?" And
Yeah,
I
it was
was
just a thing.
it's so strange, and I'm very glad that he asked before dinner so that we can use dinner as, like, a celebration versus, like, could you imagine being at dinner and then I'm like, "Is he gonna do it here? Like, when's it?" And then I'm just thinking about it the entire time. I'm not in my body, I'm not grounded,
Yeah.
I'm spending too much time in my head, so, yeah, I'm really grateful for how it kind of unraveled.
Oh, good. I love it. Thank you for sharing with us.
Yeah.
Alright, last question. What consistently brings you deep joy?
Answering questions about my zone of genius.
Mm.
Like,
I can feel that.
consistently, I get lit up about explaining this stuff in a way that hopefully resonates with people, that hopefully makes it, like, less overwhelming. I really, truly, deeply in this space just wanna help people take this shit into their own hands. And, like, the more rooms that I can get in to do that, and the more that I can hone in on my message, and, like, I just really like being helpful, and sometimes that gets me into issues, you know what I mean? Like boundaries and family and all of that, like, stuff, but in business, I really do just wanna be helpful and support people, and, like, when I have the space to share all of this knowledge in my brain and, like, I don't know why all of this stuff comes easy to me. I just see it. I can look at a website in like 3 seconds, be able to tell you 7 things that we could change in order to shift X, Y, and Z. It's just how my brain works. And like reminding myself that not everybody sees things like that. And like,
Mhm.
this is a gift for me, but I can't hold it on myself. I have to share it with people in order to support them. And so, like, having space and having conversations to be able to share that really does, like, consistently, continuously bring me joy.
Yeah. Well, I have felt that on the podcast today, and I can 100% confirm that that is a gift you have that we do not all share. Thank you. I for sure do not have it. And I feel like that's the way that like our really specific gifts typically work. I have that same challenging time with my own work of like, well, doesn't everybody see this and do this?
Sophia's really easy, and this isn't worth it, like, nobody's gonna find value in it, and then, like, yeah, I'll have conversations with friends who are better at other things, and I'm just like, "How do you see things like that?" And they're just like, "What do you mean?" And I'm, like, just consistently reminded, like, "Yeah, we all have our zone of genius."
Yeah. And it tends to be a blind spot of how much of a genius we actually are at it. So, well, I cannot thank you enough for coming on the Sensitive Podcast today and sharing your zone of genius with us and bringing your enthusiasm about SEO, sharing your wisdom and expertise. I know it's been helpful for me, and I know it will be helpful to everyone who listens. I would love for you to take a moment to share how people can work with you if they would want to do that.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for having me. So you can find out all about me over at mariahmagazine.com. There's my SEO services over there. So I have SEO consulting, strategy intensives. Those are probably the most popular option. So that's essentially like a 2-hour call with me and you. And like when it's an intensive, I mean that like your brains will be scattered on the wall behind you, but like in an empowering way, I like to think about like finding all of the untapped potential that we can do for your website, for your content, and basically just like your online visibility. And then that package includes 30 days of email support. So it's like I'm here to provide feedback. You create a blog post, you change something on your website, you send me that link, and I can provide feedback on that. So like feedback through integration is very important to me. So that's a strategy intensive. That's my most popular option for sure. And then I have like a bunch of digital products. I'm working on creating more, but there's like workshop replays and like an SEO keyword planner that people tend to really like when it comes to like outlining which keywords to hit on which pages and planning all of that out for your site. And then I have my YouTube channel, so you can go to YouTube and just search Mariah Magazine. I should pop right up over there. And if you're on Instagram, I like to hang out more so in the stories and in the DMs, but I'm Mariah Magazine CO over there.
Well, thank you so much. I will make sure and put all of that in the show notes for all of you, but most certainly check her out. And thank you again, Mariah, for your time.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.